There was finally an arrest of an associate of the singer David last Thursday in Montana, NEO Langston. It's obviously not what you think, but he was arrested in Montana on a Los Angeles warrant for a failure to appear as a witness charge. And I believe this has something to do with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, as if you've been following her homicide, because the LAPD finally referred to it as a homicide. If you've been following this, you'll know that a grand jury has been convened in Los Angeles. And from what I believe, however, it hasn't been confirmed by fact, I believe that NEO, Langston, David's friend, was issued a subpoena to appear in court. He did not show up, and therefore they arrested him. And I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to kind of tell you what I've been thinking about and how I've been dissecting this over the weekend, because I've given this a lot of thought. And I've been going back and forth. At first, when I heard of his arrest, I was like, great, this is great news, because I spoke to police, and I actually spoke to the clerk in Helena. I don't know how to pronounce this town in Montana, so please forgive me. But at first, and I was trying to dig up some information here, I spoke to the county clerk, and I didn't even know if this case had paperwork at the district office yet, or if it had been kicked over to a county attorney, or if this was just simply a criminal complaint. He was in jail, and that's where I get the information. I didn't know yet. So I called the clerk's office, and the clerk was like, this is interesting, because it hasn't been kicked over to the district attorney's office yet, but this is in the district court. And here in this area, in this county, district court handles felony cases. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, there's something called a body attachment charge, which is where basically if a witness was subpoenaed to testify in front of a grand jury, but that witness is local, the judge or the court, they can issue a body attachment arrest, which is just like a bench warrant to bring that person in. But that's a misdemeanor. So, and this clearly, it was spelled out in the paperwork I received that this was a failure to appear charge. So it wasn't a bench warrant. And I was just thinking, like, how could this be a felony charge? Well, I did some research, and it turns out if one is supposed to appear in front of a grand jury for a potential felony case, or a regular jury, whatever you want to call it, this charge of them not appearing, this could potentially result in a felony charge if the case is a potential felony. So that was one thing. And I kept thinking, okay, so this is kind of a positive, because maybe we know that they are treating this, Los Angeles is treating this as a homicide, 100% a homicide. And so I just felt like that was more of a conclusion. But then it was pointed out to me, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, but it was a long week. It was pointed out that sometimes these judges, like the district judges, are the only ones that can sign off on an extradition. And at this point, we know that NEO was actually extradited to Los Angeles, to the sheriff's department where he was held. He was extradited, I believe, on Friday at midnight. So technically that's Saturday. And by Saturday morning, he had already posted bail. It was like a $60,000 bail. He posted it. He's out. So, I was like, okay, so this possibly has to do with the extradition and not that this is a felony charge. So let's remove that from the equation. But let's talk about the fact that NEO testifying in front of a grand jury about this case, in my opinion, and I have some question marks here, does this mean that he's not a suspect at all, that we can rule him out? Well, I think it's yes and no. Look, it seems to me, and I don't know this for a fact, but police want him, or the DA's office, they want him to answer questions about his friendship with David, possibly about David's relationship with Celeste, some whereabouts, where they hung out. I mean, I just feel like this guy, Neo, has so much information that is going to be incredibly valuable to the DA's office. I mean, like, if anybody knew David, it's got to be Neo, right? Well, there have been unconfirmed reports, and when I say unconfirmed, I mean unconfirmed by the LAPD, that Neo possibly was the last one that moved the Tesla. Now, that doesn't necessarily implicate him in any way of doing anything to Celeste, of course. But me personally, I was like, oh, okay, if that is the case, would they call him in front of a grand jury if they thought he was criminally liable for anything? And the answer is, I don't know, but it's possible. It is possible that he could maybe still be considered a suspect, although it's not necessarily likely at this point, but it's possible. So, it's, again, this case is just, it's such a freaking mystery here. And I also have to wonder, I mean, he seems, from what I can see, he's kind of an entitled kid, Neo, an entitled rich kid. I mean, he's not a kid, he's 23, but you guys know what I mean. And he would potentially have a lawyer, or his parents would provide him with a lawyer, because this is serious. You can't just dodge a subpoena from the district attorney's office in a case like this. I mean, why would you flee? I don't understand that. It seems like you're almost making it worse on yourself, because this is what happens when you don't show up. So I personally don't understand why he would flee, and if he had a lawyer, why this lawyer would allow this to happen. Why she would say, oh yeah, or he would say, we'll figure it out. You don't necessarily need to show up, because look, he was clearly, this is how it works in Los Angeles. Either he or his attorney was served with a subpoena giving him a date and time to show up to court. It's just strange. And there are obviously some rumors that some of David's, or one of David's female friends, could be next. But I just don't understand. Why would you not show up? Why wouldn't you just show up, testify, and have your attorney there? I mean, I'm almost certain you're not allowed to have your attorney in the room with you while you testify in front of a grand jury, but your attorney can be outside and you can take breaks to consult them. So anyway, it's a little confusing, but I do want to bring some of this stuff up that I had tweeted the other day, because I was on the phone all afternoon on Friday. Oh my gosh, trying to get information. And let me show you. I thought this was interesting. This was a call to service report that I got from the police department. And right here, I'm zooming in. It shows you there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 officers that were called to apprehend Neo. I've had some people say, oh yeah, that's normal when, they're going to apprehend someone from out of state. But I was kind of shocked they needed 7 people for that. They also, it's almost like she warned me, by the way. The woman on the phone, she was like, you're just not going to be happy when you get this, because you have to pay $5 for this. I'm like, it's fine. Just send me what you have. I need everything. But she said there's barely any information here. But what was interesting is it says, call details, 1 in custody on Knight Street. So that's where he was arrested, Knight Street. It was 5:56 p.m. And Knight Street is very residential. And this was before some of the photos came out. But it seems to me that he was arrested at a family member's house, possibly his mother's house. And I'll show you some of the photos that this local photographer posted after I had posted this information. Let me show you the mugshot, which really, to me, I don't like it. You guys, I don't like this mugshot. I don't understand why this kid is smiling in it, because again, which I'm almost certain this has to do with the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Why are you smiling? Why is this funny? Is this funny to you? Is it funny that you dipped out on a grand jury witness request? This is the death of a 14-year-old girl we're talking about. And this is hilarious. This is so inappropriate, but I'm sorry. I want to smack the smile off his face. It is so disturbing to me on so many levels here. But here are some of the other photos, and sorry if that was unprofessional, but oh man. There's also a video as well, but this was him being taken out. He probably thinks he's all badass. Like, look at this kid. Like, he's I'm so badass. I'm being like, shut up. Yeah. So there's the officers. There's the home. Clearly, it's a residential home, but let's see. So yeah. So he's back in LA. I'm going to be very, very on top of my sources on the ground in LA, because I'm hoping that, again, he testifies this week. I'm hoping that we get some confirmation here, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to believe that we're one step closer. I really do. I'm just not. I'm not certain anymore that we are, but I'm going to stay on top of this case like I always do. I'm going to continue to speak with my sources. And by the way, I did have a source who believes, and this is based on some solid information, that David is in Los Angeles. He is in West Hollywood somewhere hiding out. So, and I believe that. I actually do believe that. I can't get into too much more, but yeah, I am so bothered by this. I am so bothered that this is I mean, look, I know that an arrest is imminent, but the fact that this is the first arrest, I am like, I was happy, and then I was like, oh, and then I was like, and yeah, all of the emotions. But like I said, Celeste, you will get justice. We will not forget about you. And I hope this was somewhat informative for you guys. I'm trying to see if I forgot anything. I don't think I did. But stay here for more information on this case. Like I said, I try to just report the facts. I try to do, original journalism on this case. I know it's tough just because I'm in New York and I am relying heavily on sources that I have in LA. I wish I was there. But yeah, stay with me. Like and subscribe if you don't already. And I know it's a snow day for everybody. I know clearly I'm in my snow day attire, so there's that as well. But I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast here on LA Mag's daily pop culture, scandals, and crime news podcast. Thanks for watching and listening, guys. Justice for Celeste.